So the Diddy trial started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't even see that.
yeah, they started, and I think they've only been. I don't know if they started yesterday or I think it was yesterday, and they they apparently brought in a someone to testify against Diddy, and she already named Jay-Z as one of the people. So she's like, okay, I'll just tell you the story. So essentially, what happened was she said that when she was 13 at the time, she said whenever she was 13, she was looking for a way into the VMAs. She was trying to get into the VMAs. She was bouncing from limo to limo, asking trying to figure out. Well, she came across P Diddy's limo driver, and the limo driver's like, yeah, yeah. He goes, Sean, he really likes young girls. He likes young girls. She's like, well, can you get me into the VMAs? He's like, I can't get into the VMAs, but I can get you into the after party. So he got her into the after party. As soon as she got into the after party, they handed her a drink. She said she started feeling woozy. Next thing you know, she said she's in a room, and Jay-Z S8'd her, and then P. Diddy S8'd her, and then a third celebrity S8'd her, a female celebrity. They just call her Celebrity B because she was the other celebrity. I'm like, Beyonce, bitch.
Oh, for sure.
I was like, that. Who else would it be? It had to be Beyonce.
Oh no!
I fucking hope. I hate that bitch.
Just tear the whole thing down.
Just come on, man. Just give us the
down.
list of names and just give it to us.
I want the Diddy list. And I want the Epstein list.
They're not going to release. They're not going to release the Diddy list till the trial's over.
Right.
They
can't because it's an ongoing investigation.
Exactly, it's an ongoing investigation. They don't want any of the names to get out because they don't want anybody implemented if it's not true.
What about the Epstein?
I'm not sure about the Epstein stuff. I don't know.
That shit just got dropped.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Well, they did release everything that had to do with JFK, but I didn't check into it. I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, I don't care what they release, though. Like, they can redact, they can rewrite, they can, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because they release it doesn't mean it's
Trump
true.
wants the Epstein list out there. He wants.
Oh no,
I
agree. I agree.
Thing exposed. So
and no, the flight logs aren't good enough because how many people went there just doing legitimate business deals? Like, it's been proven that not every single person on those flight logs was there for nefarious reasons.
That was the thing is, like, a lot of that was, like, flight logs. Like, just because they were on the fucking island don't mean they were doing anything nefarious.
Right. You're telling me that all those big lavish parties that he threw,
right,
with all of those celebrities, every single one of them was in on it? No, I don't think so.
Exactly.
They knew when it was safe and when it wasn't.
That's like Diddy's white parties, as he called them. They were called white parties, where everybody would dress up in white. He had an ass load of celebrities at those parties. Not every celebrity at that party was trying to go, like, but they were after parties, right? That he called.
Well, and he had rooms, he had tunnels, he had. I mean, that was like a essayer's dream.
Yeah, he had. So what he had was what he would call the after party, which was after the party, and it was called. He called them freak offs, and apparently these freak offs would go on for, like, some of them days, like it was just like fucking orgies and all kinds of crazy shit.
Well, here's my question: is you had Epstein that had what was his like secretary's name? I can't remember, the one they arrested after Epstein. Can't remember.
No, it was his wife.
His wife,
Maxine.
Whatever. I don't think they were ever married. I think they were just partners.
Girlfriend. Whatever
happened to her?
Everybody assumed romantic, but then they thought maybe it wasn't romantic, and that was just sort of like a
because she knew which celebrities were doing what.
Yeah,
she had.
And she still does. She's still alive. She's sitting in prison.
Yeah. I tend to believe it was a business deal because he wasn't into her. He was only into little girls.
Yeah. So why isn't, they pushing to get the information out of her?
I don't know.
That's where I'm at.
It's a good question.
I agree with that. I've been saying the same thing. I don't understand that. I don't understand why they won't release anything about Epstein. He killed himself. So really, like, what's it? There's no ongoing investigation, and she's in prison. So if this P Diddy shit goes, if this P Diddy shit goes as far as some like to believe it is, I believe that something bad is going to happen to P Diddy. They're not going to let him just release a bunch of names. He'll kill himself.
Either he'll kill himself, or something's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're just going to release all these names and all these
Look,
people.
if I was someone in the criminal justice department or whatever,
he'd be in a safe room
I would.
somewhere.
I mean, you'd be like locked in my basement.
Yeah.
So I could check on you from time to time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there would be no way you would be out of my sight.
Yeah, because
until this trial was over. Like I don't give a shit about that.
If it's as deep as they say it is with him, this is going to crack the foundation of Hollywood. Because you're not talking about just musicians, you're talking about actors, actresses. I mean, Ellen DeGeneres was apparently she's linked to it all. So I mean, there's a lot of people.
She lives in London now.
I think that they're making her come back.
It would be you can extradite from,
or
you can subpoena. They don't show up. It's an extradition. We have a.
They're making her come back for one reason or another. I don't know if it's exactly for the P. Diddy stuff, but yeah, she's got to come back. But yeah, there's a lot of people implemented in this, and to be honest with you,
implicated.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
I heard it once, and I was like, I'm just gonna let it go.
Slide.
But then I was like, I don't want him to keep saying it because I don't want somebody out there going implicated. Duh, like people are like I keep seeing these things about like posts that Trump puts out and little grammatical errors, and people are like, man, oh my god, like.
Especially
that man can't do anything right, and you're going to get on him because he used, I don't know, some kind of grammatical error. Like, we all do it. The smartest of us do it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm just really, I don't know where all this is going to go or what's going to come of it. I knew that Jay-Z was going to get named. I think Beyonce is going to be named. I think there's a few other celebrities, like, very well known. Like, I think Kanye is going to get named. There's quite a few celebrities that I think are going to get thrown under the bus. And I think also Kim Kardashian.
It's a proof thing, though, for some of you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to have to come up with proof for them, just like they did Diddy. And I'm not saying that the proof doesn't exist, just that.
With the whole Me Too movement and everything that happened in the past, they're not just going to take what these women say lightly. They're not just going to be like, okay, so yeah, Jay-Z was there, but we're going to let him off the hook because this ain't about it.
No,
they're not going to do that.
I agree with that.
They're going to be like, all right, well, now we got to open up a case on him and open up a case on them because... you got to understand, man, like, if these women were, like, adults and they were knowingly doing these things, that's a different story.
I'd like to say
But the fact that girl was 13 years old, man, that's...
I'd like to say that I agree that, justice can or will be served.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, California just went through that whole pedophilia bill that they didn't even pass. Because all it did was make it illegal to pay a minor for sex or something like that. And they were like, nah. And then when it got publicized, they were like, oh, yeah, we'll pass it, but only from 16 and down or 15 and down.
That's not illegal already?
No, that's the fun part. This is fucking California.
California's a very weird place.
It's not weird, it's immoral. It's the new Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, we've been waiting for that earthquake to happen that's going to break it off from the rest of America. Just wish it would happen.
We've been having some strong earthquakes, too.
This is true.
So,
any day now.
We're just waiting.
Can't remember where I seen it, but it actually showed where the land shifted. You watch the camera, and you literally watch the land shift.
Yeah, it's the tectonic plate that's the fault line that they're on. So it's slowly moving. So what's happening is here's California and here's the rest of America, and it's just doing this is what's happening. So California's going down. That's because that's that tectonic plate.
It's going to be part of Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, that'll make them happy.
Yeah. I mean, they're the ones who want them all. I mean, make it easier
Nothing
for us.
drives
We wouldn't
me-
have to get them back over the border. They would just be there.
Nothing drives me more crazy than listening to people talk about illegal immigrants in a way that's like, oh, poor thing. Look, I feel for these people. I do. I feel for some of them, especially like these mothers that are getting deported from their kids. All of that. I feel for them. My heart breaks for them. But for 4 years, we allowed it to be a thing. For 4 years, we allowed it to be a safe thing to do. You want to blame someone for now enforcing the laws? Blame Biden for giving them 4 years to think it was okay.
Yeah.
And brainwashing you.
Well, that's like that MS-13 guy that they deported.
They're
and
dying
like,
on a hill for that fucking
yeah, they're
guy.
like, this guy, blah, blah, like, dude, he used to beat the shit out of his old lady. Like, they've got evidence of this. He's been to prison and everything else for beating the shit out of his wife.
One thing. MS-13.
Yeah, he's a fucking gang affiliate. They're one of the worst gangs in America.
It kills me the martyrs that they pick for their causes.
Yeah.
Like there was a story about a mom who got taken away from her husband and her kids because they were legal and she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the stories you should be up in arms about. But no, we're going to fucking fall all over this MS-13 guy. Give it up. He's a criminal. He's a wife beater. He's a murderer. He's a rapist. Knock it off.
Yeah, I agree. Just, it's all about moral boundaries. So
watch this side of the land.
Okay.
what are you doing?
He's
Watch
showing
it
me
shift.
that shift.
Oh,
As soon as that gate starts opening.
Oh, yeah. Let's see that happen a little more often. You
Anyway,
can literally see the sidewalk
oh
Just
yeah.
One
the
of
whole,
these.
you see the whole land just,
just shift.
Was it like a time lapse?
yeah, like here.
It's like a security camera
Yeah, it's a security camera.
on somebody's gate.
And it's just like a time lapse, or is it like?
Yeah, when the gate starts to open, watch the side
On the right.
on the right.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And the whole land just shift.
Yeah, when the gate starts to open, that's when you need to pay attention.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
That's a heck of a
Just
shift. I've never
seeing
seen
the
a
whole
shift like
Earth
that.
shift like that. That's
Whoa, you can see it on the outside
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
That's pretty wild. Just take it all.
That give me like
Hope that guy's on the right
motion
side of
sickness if
America.
I was driving or something.
So-
You should send that to him
Todd-
so he can put that on the video so
Film-
people
film
can see it if they
near-
want to.
Yeah.
It was filmed near Tazi Manarma.
Tazi Manarna.
Share it with him so you can put it on the video so the people are watching.
I need to set up something on here so if we have a YouTube video that we want to watch, we can just bring it up.
Mm-hmm. But that kind of came out of nowhere. So,
Right.
you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
none of those
yeah.
things do come up.
Here, I just shared it in the group chat.
There you go.
Anyway,
See, my buddy
welcome
Corey
back.
posted it.
We are the Bonsai Movie Team.
That was a long intro.
It was a very long intro. Don't forget to check out all the social stuff down there and everything, and then let's go ahead and get into our creator profile.
Emilio Estevez.
Damn it.
Really?
Yeah.
Woohoo! I love
Wow.
him.
Okay, Mario.
I love him. No, I seen a video. Somebody sent it to me because they knew we were doing Breakfast Club, and it was an interview with the original cast, and they were talking about like
Don't see him anymore.
no,
He doesn't do a lot of acting. He's done a few things recently, but like
Yeah.
it's all been like low stuff, low budget stuff.
But
I
yeah,
wouldn't call it low budget. More stuff, things closer to his heart, because he's actually from Cincinnati,
yeah.
and he's got like a lot of love for Cincinnati.
Well, what they were talking about was the lack of like color in the cast.
I was going to talk about that. Actually.
Well, yeah. Did you? Oh, that video. Did you see the video?
No, I didn't see no video.
Well, they were talking about that. They were bitching. Like this reporter was bitching about how like you guys don't have any, black
Blacks,
people,
yeah.
Hispanic people, blah blah blah. And Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson are sitting there like, "You're right, you're right." And Molly Ringwald's like, "Yeah, and she gets on there and goes on this long spiel or whatever. And it's like as soon as she gets done, Emilio's like this. And like she hands him the thing or whatever, or maybe he had his own, I don't remember, but he was like, this is a character driven movie and didn't need like additional points to make.
Yeah,
It's there's no reason.
it couldn't be made today.
Yeah, he's
that
like there's
way.
no reason really to like point out like
Yeah,
like I can't. He said it in such a beautiful way. Like he was talking about how like
he's
know
a
back
very
in-
smart dude.
Yeah, like
He's
he
a
was
very
talking about
smart
back
guy.
in the day. He's like, we had character driven, plot driven movies,
Mhm.
things like that. He's like, we weren't concerned about making sure that
No.
we fulfilled some,
Yeah,
agenda
yeah.
or quota.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we ain't got a Mexican. Like,
Mhm.
and Estevez. I mean, that denotes that he's not exactly white.
Right.
So the fuck.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I thought the same thing watching. I was like, wow, this is an all white cast. If this was made today, it would
Yeah, that
be-
was the question.
There'd be a gay one,
if
a
this was
black
made
one,
today.
a Mexican one, and then there'd be one or two white ones. But one of the white ones would have to be the gay one.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be because they would have to show the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
You know,
with
that's-
whenever this movie came out, They weren't concerned with that.
Well,
They were
nobody was. It was
No.
it was a complete plot and character driven movies, and they just hired the best person for the job. Now, I'm not saying that racism is not a thing and wasn't a thing.
right.
It totally is. And I'm just saying that, like, if you are a director or a casting director or anything to do with any kind of creative output, you shouldn't be pressured to hire this person over this person because this person's better, but this person's black.
Yep.
So, that brings me to another point on it. Back in the day, like in the 80s, I would say probably 70s and 80s, I would say that racism probably wasn't as strong.
Well, it wasn't as in your face, but I don't know. I would make
Because
the argument.
I would say if you were like black, Mexican, or whatever back in like the 80s, and you were part of a social class like the jock or the nerds or whatever, you were still classed in that category.
I think
not
that
based on your color.
Racism has
always been a thing.
and always been a thing.
Absolutely, yes.
So, but do I think it was? It was okay. So people were more racist in the 80s than they are now.
I think that's what I'm saying is like it was happening behind closed doors and people weren't trying to fight it as hard. So
but nowadays though, you got to understand they use racism as a you got your liberals and your Democrats and all that. They use racism as a sort of engine and a driving power for their campaign, and they do that.
Yeah, they fuel the fire.
They fuel racism so to look more sympathetic. You know what I mean?
I guess my thing is like they do this whole. They want to push a narrative to say like it's because they're black or it's because like so if they're like I saw this one TikToker and he was a black guy and he was talking about how like when it's black on black crime, we don't hear about it.
Yeah.
But and that is because of the people that are trying to divide this country. That's the people that, like you said, the politicians that are using it as a talking point to make things out to be worse than they actually are. Or taking a problem that is prevalent in an area or place and saying it's because of this or it's because of that. And it's like, if we could just get to the point as a country, like a lot of the European nations and stuff, that, it's not a crime to say black person. It's not a crime to be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
And also when they describe most people, unless they're describing them to the police or, giving certain descriptions, that guy's a man. Not a black man, not a white man, not a Chinese guy, none it's a man.
Yeah. And I believe that
and I think that's where everybody needs to get to.
Seriously,
because
that's the problem though, and I'm seeing it
on
more nowadays than ever before.
Because there's an emphasis.
Yeah, there's more nowadays than ever before where actual black people are coming out and saying, "What's the issue here? Like, why are we still talking about this?" And I think it's because
in an age when you have
it's because of social media and they're growing more wise to the bullshit. I think it's a good age to live in for that reason.
For many, many years, they had the DEI, they had affirmative action, they had all these things. Yet, the statistics either went higher or barely moved. So again, like, most of the TikTokers that I see are like, what's the problem?
Well, the thing about it is, though, is with our generation especially, like with us, we grew up around racist parents and racist grandparents and things like that. I'm not saying all of them were, but I'm saying that, like, we had them, and
it was shown.
It was easier. And as we got older, I think, honestly, the millennial generation might be the smartest generation.
It's the most temperament for sure.
Yeah, because we grew up and we were able to unlearn so much of that stuff. Like, why would you hate somebody based on the color of their skin? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because that's how I grew up. I grew up like, why would you hate that person just because they're black or because they're Mexican? That's stupid. I don't think that's a good reason to dislike somebody. Dislike somebody based on their merits, man. Don't dislike them based on like their morals. Like if they don't have good morals and if they're a bad person, they steal, lie, cheat, any of those things. That's why you should not. That's how you should judge a person, not based on their color. And I never, growing up, never looked at a black person and thought, "Yeah, I don't like you because you're black." And I've never thought that because that's ridiculous.
What I'm saying. There's like this emphasis on color over character, and I don't know. I guess if I were, a member of any other race, I would want to be based on my character.
Your merits, yeah.
Yeah, on my merits. I'd feel like if you're giving me a handout, I didn't earn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And that's good. That's a good way to think, you know? People are like, oh, you don't take, because I don't take handouts very easily.
No, I don't either.
And so for me, I grew up and I was raised to work for what I have. And I teach my kids the same morals. Do I not?
Yeah.
Yeah, work for it, man. You want it, work for it. You know, I mean, we spoil our kids here and there from time to time, but, you know, we all do. You want to give them the world, but at the same time, you want them to work for, you know, for what they have and you don't want them to earn it.
Right.
Anyway, we're going off subject here. Let's talk about Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, let's do that. I like him a lot.
Do you want to read that or do you want to read the movie?
I don't care.
They're both really short.
I can't imagine
I
that the
wonder
movie's
why
going to
it's
be
short.
that bad.
I'll talk about Emilio Estevez and you can do the movie.
Okay.
Alrighty. Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez was born in New York City. Okay, so he's born in New York. I think he lived in Cincinnati. Born in New York City, borough of Staten Island on May 12th, 1962. 6 years later, his father, actor Martin Sheen, moved the family to Malibu, California, where Estevez grew up with future actors Rob Lowe and Sean Penn. Estevez took an interest in his father's business at a young age, and he and his friends made short films together, often written by Estevez. At age 7, he submitted a script to Rod Serling's TV series Night Gallery, which was turned down. To feel that he was making his way in Hollywood on his own, the burgeoning actor chose to retain his given name. Brother Carlos Estevez rose to fame as Charlie Sheen. However, he was helped with minuscule parts in 1973 movie Badlands and the 1979 film Apocalypse Now in 1979, both of which starred his father. In 1982, Estevez caught his big break with a role in Tex, a film adaptation of an S.E. Hinton book. The following year, he appeared in another Hinton adaptation, The Outsiders, which is a great fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. Loaded with such young up-and-coming... God damn it.
Up and coming.
What was he?
Right there.
Right here. That's him. He doesn't have a
He
huge
needs
role
to
in
get
the movie.
rid of the sideburns. They're not
Well, that was
working.
kind of the movie.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was based in the 50s. Sideburns
Yeah.
were a thing.
Yeah, that's Tom Cruise right there. With his fucking gap in his teeth.
He's always been ugly to me, so I don't care.
Anyway, loaded with such
Rob
young...
Lowe's from here. Well, he's not from here, but he lived here for a little while.
Yeah, and...
Well,
yeah,
his family is from here.
Yeah.
Like his grandpa owned the spot.
Yeah.
loaded with such up-and-comers as Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, and Ralph Macchio. The Outsiders became a cult classic and put nearly every major actor involved on the Hollywood map. Hitting the stride, Estevez landed a starring role in 1984's film Repo Man. That year, he and his girlfriend Carrie Sally became parents with the birth of their son, Taylor Levi. 2 years later, they had a daughter, Paloma Ray. It's got some weird fucking names. Estevez became a legitimate star following the release of The Breakfast Club in 1985, helmed by the then
Ambiguous.
no, hold on.
Ambivalent?
Ambitious?
Oh, ambitious.
Ubiquitous? Ubiquitous. I guess.
I'm confused.
Ubiquitous.
Sounds right, ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. Right, there's the word. John Hughes.
It's not one I'm familiar with.
Ubiquitous. I'm not even sure what that means.
I will look it
The
up.
film was a smash hit and a high water mark of the 1980s teen fare. Coming on the heels of his punk anti-hero in Repo Man, Estevez's portrayal of a high school jock in The Breakfast Club showed the range of his talent. It was also one of the performances that marked his inclusion in the Brat Pack, a group of young, which we've talked about on here before with, Demi Moore and them, a group of young actors that included Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Judd Nelson, and Andrew McCarthy. In the late 1980s, the early 1990s, Estevez tried his hand at comedy with several films, including Stakeout and Men at Work.
Men at Work was the best.
Men at Work's a shit. He starred in the family-friendly The Mighty Ducks and its sequels.
That's where I recognize him from.
Playing the coach on an ice hockey team.
They were talking about bringing another one out with him in it.
They did a series or whatever, like a show on Disney.
Was that it?
They did a 8-episode
series. They were going to bring like the old original cast.
I don't know. I think some of the original cast was in the show. But I don't know. I never watched it. Where the fuck was I? Okay. In 1992, he married pop singer Paula Abdul, but the union ended in divorce just 2 years later. Behind the camera in the early 2000s, Estevez spent more time behind the camera directing episodes of such shows as Cold Case, CSI New York, and Close to Home. Estevez also wrote, directed, and produced the film Bobby in 2006, a look at the assassination of Robert Kennedy, and The Way, a drama starring his father. Both films received critical accolades and offered promise for Estevez's future as a writer/director. The end. Here's Estevez. Favorite Emilio Estevez movie?
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks.
Young Guns.
Even though I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, I still remember loving it.
That's what I was going to say, Young Guns, but I haven't seen it in so long.
Oh, I every time I see it pop up, I'll watch
Young Guns. I remember loving it, but I don't remember it very well.
Billy
I'll
the
go with
Kid.
Young Guns. I remember really.
Mine's also. I thought you guys were going to go with Men at Work.
No, I'm
Like,
acting
when it comes-
case.
yeah,
Young Guns all the way.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm going with Young Guns.
I love Men at Work, but Young Guns
I'm seeing rumors that there's gonna be Young Guns 3, that they're gonna bring them back and they're gonna do Young Guns 3.
I don't know if I've actually seen the second
ended
one.
it.
I was gonna say I don't know if I remember.
Well, at the end of
second one.
Young Guns 2, they show Billy the Kid as a full-grown old man.
No, I
and
have
everything.
seen that. Yeah, because he shows up at the beginning like it's like he's talking to somebody, and then at the end again,
Yeah.
and you realize who he is.
Yeah, he's an old man.
Yeah,
Because he was supposed to have died, but he didn't die. He just, they
changed who he was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm going with Young Guns.
They were talking. Emilio Estevez wrote another.
Young Guns.
No, Mighty Ducks. He
Oh.
wrote another one, but Disney has not shown interest in it yet.
Mhm.
But I remember seeing wasn't like a trailer, but it was like the old cast coming and
Yeah,
I'd rather
like
they
a reunion
didn't.
thing.
yeah.
I'd rather they didn't.
I'd rather they didn't either. It's all just nostalgia bait. For
Well,
them
not
to
just
let
that. I mean, I don't want Disney making it.
Well, it's Disney's property,
I understand that. So, if Disney has to be the one, let's just not.
right? Yeah, I agree.
Disney's not doing so great right
yeah,
now.
you guys
with
kind of
their-
suck right now.
They don't really have their finger on the pulse.
No, they're pumping out dead content at this point. Anyway, there you have it. That's Emilio Estevez,
Good one.
part of our childhood.
That's a good one.
All right, let's move on.
Let's talk about the movie.
Talking about the movie. This week we watched The Breakfast Club from 1985. Karen, you got that plot synopsis?
I do. 5 high school students from different walks of life endure a Saturday detention under a power-hungry principal, which is incorrect. He's not a principal. The disparate group includes Rebel John, Princess Claire, Outcast Allison, Brainy Brian, and Andrew the Jock. Each has a chance to tell his or her story, making the others see them a little differently. And when the day ends, they question whether school will ever be the same. Do I need to go through the cast?
Yes.
Okay. Emilio Estevez is Andrew Clark. Judd Nelson is John Bender. Molly Ringwald is Claire Standish. Anthony Michael Hall is Brian Johnson. Ali Sheedy is Allison Reynolds. Paul Gleason is Richard Vernon. And John Kapelos is Carl. Nobody else needs to be mentioned.
No, because there really is. That's it. That's the main
The
character.
rest is all their parents. Like,
Yeah.
okay, Brian's parents or Brian's mom.
So before
was
we even
actually
start
his
this,
mom.
favorite character.
Oh,
Favorite character out of it?
I like Allison.
That's me too. I like it. She's my favorite.
Yeah, because like I love at the end.
She's the
like,
most relatable too.
Yeah, and she's sitting there, and they're like, "Well, you know why I'm here? I didn't have anything better to do. You're
Yeah.
a liar,
Yeah.
because they're not just gonna let you come in. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, she's a habitual liar, but it's funny.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I
Everything
like
she
Allison.
says, whenever she actually starts talking, she's hilarious.
Oh, I just like how she deals with Vernon too. Like when he runs his mouth, and she's like, "Ha!"
I like it when she's drawing the picture and then she uses the dandruff from her hair.
That was
Yeah.
so
She's the
gross.
best part of the whole movie.
Allison's 100% my favorite.
Yeah, she's my
100%.
favorite.
I'm going to stick with Brian because he just reminds me of Carson so much.
I can see that.
He does.
Is that Anthony Michael Hall?
Yeah.
We said the same thing. Like we were pointing out like who these people were in our lives, and both Jeremiah and I were like, Brian's Jack.
Now, who's your least favorite?
Claire,
The Molly Ringwald?
Princess.
I don't like her that much either, but man, she's really tipping it with what's his face, Judd Nelson's character.
Yeah, but in all honesty, that was dumb.
Them getting to, I want to talk.
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
we'll talk
that-
about that.
Yeah, that was.
We're going to talk about that.
Makes
what about
zero
you? Who's
sense.
your favorite?
Probably Allison.
Makes sense. Least favorite?
Probably the douchebag guy.
Bender? Dude, he's like second tier for me. There's Allison then Bender.
That's who I was talking about better. I don't
Yeah.
like him.
You don't like Bender?
Mhm.
I think he's the most honest. And yeah, he
I
goes a
agree
little
with
too
that.
far. He goes a little too far with it. I agree. But
That's not why I don't like him though.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he's overacted.
Oh, you don't like Judd Nelson doing
He's
it?
like,
Mm-mm. No.
he's fine whenever he's not like being weird, but then he gets weird, and it's weird. He's like bipolar.
I like his brutal honesty, but I can't stand his acting. He overacts everything, and he he just goes fucking. He turns everything up to an 11, and I don't
Really
see
quick.
how it's necessary. Huh?
Really quick.
Yeah, really fast too. And I thought it was really unnecessary. I thought he should have been. I mean, I understand why. I understand his intensity, but I wanted to bring it down just a few notches because it was just too much. You know what I mean? So, just
Like you could see, like some of the things that he said was coming from like a point of view, of, like, you know, hey, you've got all this time, get your shit together. You know, he's doing it because he wants them to be good kids. You know, but at the same time, it's like you're taking it too far.
I thought that it was a good portrayal of a kid that was screaming for help.
we're talking about the kid, right? You're talking about the kid.
No, that's talking about the principal.
No, I'm talking about Bender, the kid,
Okay.
the obnoxious one. Yeah, that guy was taking it too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the movie. Or sorry, no, we can't. What'd you watch? What'd you recommend?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah, probably. I don't know that this is my second or third time watching this movie. I don't know that I would recommend it. It's hard to recommend a movie like this nowadays because it doesn't have the same impact on kids as it did then. And you can't recommend this to adults because adults don't care. This isn't the type of movie that an adult can relate to.
I went in with the same attitude.
I think it could still relate to some kids, basically based off of their social class. You know,
Maybe, but this is
there's
like
nowadays there's so many different social classes.
well, that and also not only is there so many different social classes, but you're looking at this like this is a fairy tale ending.
Oh,
yeah,
high
I'm not.
school
I'm not
life.
even
Yes,
talking about
like,
just the
I've got-
ending.
I've
I'm
got-
just.
I got problems with the couples that
Yeah.
got together.
Yeah,
I
that's
got serious
yeah,
problems
seriously.
with it.
Yeah.
I don't think I think it would be good for kids to see like, hey, like you shouldn't base your, I want to say judgment
I
of
understand-
characters.
I get what you're saying. You're saying that you shouldn't. They should take this as a lesson.
Yeah.
On how to not judge.
Just
others.
because you see a jock doesn't mean that.
that
they're-
doesn't mean that he doesn't have something
Yeah.
going on.
I think this still would show kids nowadays, like, hey, this is how you should view.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think there's lessons still to be learned from.
But like I
this.
said, though, this doesn't translate well for kids nowadays because there's nothing relatable for them in this. So they can take that for that, but it's a very simplified version. If they were to update this movie, they would have to update so much with it.
In all
Oh, yeah.
honesty, the only one that can really answer that is her.
True. Yeah, I agree.
A band nerd was homecoming king this year.
But do you find this movie to be relatable?
I'm more talking about the
life?
overall tones of the movie, not the individual like
I
princess.
like the movie,
but is it relatable?
Could you take a lesson
So
from this?
how-
Was there
Our
lessons
school is-
that, like
Yeah,
when
the
you
way-
were
yeah.
okay, for example, when they're sitting around in a circle and they're all talking about their parents, not put your dad or anything, right? But like they're
we can
talking
base
about
it off my mother.
we can. I mean, I'm just saying, and they're all talking about their individual problems and their individual things about, the problems with their parents, problems with fitting in, problems with trying to understand each other, all of that stuff. That's still relatable, in my opinion.
That is
But
relatable.
I'm
You're
asking
right.
you.
Yeah, you're not
Could-
wrong about that.
could
The
you-
overall tones of this movie.
Could you take a lesson from this and be like, okay, I'm not going to judge a jock because he's a jock.
I'm not saying
going
that
to
they can't take lessons from this. I'm
Yeah.
saying that it would.
No, I'm asking, is it relatable?
I'm just
Are
saying,
these things that
is it something you can learn from? Like I said, the whole point of this movie was showing you like jocks are not just jocks. They have feelings. They have a personality.
They have
prep
personalities, all right.
preppy kids are not just preppy kids. They have personalities. You can look past their
They're soulless.
social class and actually look at the kid as a person and not just their social class.
There are a few jocks that I know that are like that are actually friendly and everything and actually have personalities, but there are also other jocks that are just attention whores. So
I'm just going back to my question here.
no.
The overall
I don't
tones
understand
of
the
the
question.
What I'm talking about is all the things that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Why they all end up being friends in the end. All of those things that united them, all of those things that showed each other that they're not that different. And then on top of it, they've got, these problems with their parents. For example, Andrew. I keep thinking of Andrew because all he wants is to be himself, but all his dad does is push, 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 right? And that caused him to cause someone else harm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do these, I guess, things that they're going through, the things that they're saying and the things that they're doing, forget the dated stuff, the slang, or the way they're dressed, or any of that stuff. Forget all of that. Forget anything that screams 80s. I'm talking about the actual plot of the movie, what the kids have gone through, and the fact that they feel ignored by every adult in their life. Is that still a relatable thing?
Sure, yeah.
I'm not saying that's not what I was trying to say, though.
No, I get
What
that. I'm only asking. because
Right.
I'm
I
interested.
believe that, yes, it is relatable for kids nowadays because there's all kinds of kids out there with different problems and different things going on at home. My thing is, though, the reason why I don't believe that this is a good reference movie for kids nowadays is because, yeah, they can relate to those kids' problems, but there's no way to tune them in because it's
They
not.
wouldn't pay attention
They
to
wouldn't
it.
pay attention to it.
Sure.
Because this movie, I get where this movie came from, and I get that back then, people's attention spans were far, far better.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, kids need short media.
There's a reason that you've got
TikTok, and all these little
and
short
reels
videos.
and like
This is why
anything
people
more
hate
than
us
5
because-
minutes and
Yeah, people hate us for having hour-and-a-half long episodes. It's like, well,
Once you
we
can
grew
get,
up in an era where long form media was the thing. Like we sat down and watched, hour-long
our parents
episodes.
wanted to clean the house or whatever, they sat you in front of the boob tube.
Yeah, but like whereas
Once-
nowadays you just do this. You can scroll.
once kids got a computer in their hand,
Game over.
That was game over.
yeah, it was game over.
You would think that they'd be smarter, but I think all it did was make them dumber.
Well, I think the worst thing that we ever did was create social media.
Mhm.
I really do. It causes all kinds of depression, anxiety, and everything else, and kids especially, because all they're doing is looking around. Everybody else is happy. Why ain't I? Everybody else is taking these great pictures. Why don't I?
Why doesn't anybody like my
because
comment?
it's all fake,
Yeah.
people. Nobody really goes on 20 different vacations in a year. They're staying in front of a tree in their backyard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real. Social media is a fucking nightmare. And the problem, too, nobody knows how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So then when people get into relationships and they don't last because and it makes you so fucking selfish.
Yeah. Well, my thing is though, like whenever those kids were sitting down in the movie, and they were having that because it was like one of the longest scenes of the movie when they were all sitting down talking about, will you talk to me on Monday, blah 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 blah. A lot of like all that was like true. Everything they were saying, she was like, I'll be honest with you, I probably will not talk to any of you on Monday, because she was being
Or if
honest.
I do, I'll tear you down in front of my
exactly
friends.
because that's how I have to maintain my status quo. So, but with kids nowadays, if you got them in a room and they had a whole Saturday of detention, and they had to, they would not converse with each other if they
No.
were from completely different social
No,
cliques.
no.
No,
But you have to give
they're
they
not
would
gonna
sit
talk.
there
You
for
have to give
12
Bender
hours.
the props there.
Yeah,
Because he was the one just pushing for them to not just sit there all day.
exactly.
So that's just him trying to cause anarchy, and instead he caused
Connection.
connection.
Yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah, I agree with that. Like,
He made
I
everybody
don't-
hate him for a second, come together, and then they all start conversing.
It's just it's a very unrealistic movie to me in so many different ways. And
I think that's the point, actually.
I know.
No, I mean, just from the perspective of it's supposed to be, especially when it was made.
It's supposed to give kids some hope.
Well, it's supposed to give them a think. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to sit here and think, like, okay, my reaction when I hear Claire saying to Brian, will we be friends on Monday? And she says no. And she says, if you come talking to me, then I'm going to tell my friends that you're a piece of shit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or
My-
she said, I will say hi, and then once you walk away, I will
I'll tear
talk
you
shit.
down.
I'll tear you down.
I think that this is a good movie for kids coming into high school and middle school to show them, and because Gavin, he's 12, he's in middle school, and he watched this with us. But Gavin is like one of the most.
Yeah, it would be useless for me to sit Jack down in front
It's
of him and
it's
watch
pointless
this.
to have him watch it because he's the type of kid that would be like, I would totally talk to all those guys.
Right.
He's that kind of kid. He's very friendly.
But
and nice.
they all have valid
yeah, very
points.
passive.
They all have valid points, though. Because when he says, well, I would never do that to you, and Claire's like, you don't have the same pressures we do.
Right.
They're all right.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
How
I
can you say
can't
that?
applaud you for being honest when instead you could be a pioneer.
Yeah.
That's where I get like shitty with Claire, especially. Because she doesn't seem, the only learning she has is starting to date Bender. And let's be honest,
How long
down,
is that going to last?
first of all, deep down, are you doing it to piss off your parents? And second of all, like you said, how long is that going to last?
Yeah.
They're not talking to each other on Monday, remember? So, like, yeah, I have a problem with her and Bender getting together at the end. It makes 0 sense. I guess is it my turn to say whether I liked it or not?
No, I think it's still
I
Joseph's.
didn't really recommend.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's-
Oh,
Still
sorry. Yeah, let me
Joseph's.
just say, I would probably. I don't know if I would watch this again anytime soon. And I think that's where I got thrown off.
Yeah,
because
sorry.
I would recommend this to kids coming into that sort of
category.
like that sort of into that age group. Like, watch this so you get a better understanding of how you should treat. Don't get me wrong; it's not going to work. Especially nowadays, it's not going to work.
Kids will watch this,
Actually,
but
I
then
would
at the
argue-
same time, they won't take that as a lesson. They'll be like, well, yeah, just because it happens in this movie doesn't mean,
Yeah.
I can do that when I
But
go to high
some
school.
kids
'cause I'm
are
just gonna be
smart
made
enough,
fun.
like Jack or Gavin, that they'll take this in and be like, "Yeah, that's how it should be," and they'll think about that. They'll stew on it
Well, it's
because
not
they're smart kids.
just that, like Jack, he's a social butterfly.
Mhm.
He talks to everyone
Yeah.
on purpose. Like, so I couldn't imagine him going to high school and like not talking to the jocks. And he's going to be that one kid that doesn't really have a home. He's just
That's how I was.
Yeah,
everybody's
that's
floating
exactly
around.
where I was too, because I had friends in all the classes.
I was a goth kid, but I talked to everybody. If you were nice to me, I was nice to you.
Yeah.
If you were a dick, I didn't talk to you at all.
Yep.
no,
Like, it was so funny in high school. They're like, "Oh, you're like, them goth kids are so dirty." I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" They're like, "But not you. You're one of the clean ones." Like, what does that mean?
That's
Yeah.
how
Right.
One of the
Mason
clean
was
ones,
with me.
Right.
Like,
no, the hippies
I was like, because
were
I
the
shower
the
every day?
hippies were the dirty kids just because we
Yeah.
talked to them from time to time, but that was because we were nice. Okay,
yeah.
I bathed.
Yeah, we bathed every day. It's like, it was so funny. Whenever someone had said, one of the preppy girls had said that to me. Well, you were the clean ones. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Does it mean I shower? She's like, yeah, you're not all greasy and stuff. I'm like, well, some people, I had to explain it to her. I was like, not all people have the privileges that you or I have. Some of them kids out there got a hard life at home, you
No
know?
shit.
But they don't understand that because they're privileged. you know. But anyway, Karen.
Claire Standish. Anyway. Yeah, I'll probably watch it again at some point, but honestly, like, this may be my third watch, so it's not something I watch a lot.
My third also.
I got really into those, like, John Hughes movies for a long time, so I watched, like, all of them. But yeah, I would watch it again, and I'd recommend it. I don't really care to, like, say, like, who I would recommend it to. I just recommend it. I would recommend it to anybody, honestly, because to me, it's still culturally significant, from the perspective that I don't see the problems that kids have changing. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think it's still culturally significant. Why can't I say that?
I think that you're on the right track there, but if I was going to recommend it to somebody, it would be to a parent who felt like their kid was either socially distant or had a problem socially with not making friends, but with, like, treating others poorly. Like, show that movie to your kids and be like, just sit down and watch it with them and explain to them, you know, what exactly the whole lesson of this movie is, and that's that not everybody has a great home life. You know, they may seem like okay on the outside, but when they go home, you don't know what it's like. Especially nowadays with social media, bullying doesn't just happen at school anymore; it happens at home too. Because whenever they go home, they see social media, they see all these things. They're getting bullied all the time now. So, you know, you never know what somebody's going through.
Yeah, and I think that's the takeaway is that. And that's the takeaway that I think is still culturally significant, is to say that you don't know what somebody else is going through, and you don't know them.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. You shouldn't judge people based on their social clique or what you think about them even. Like, you don't know them. If you're not friends with them, you don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What about you, Eric?
Even sometimes whenever you're friends with them, you still can't know them all that well.
Well, we don't really truly even the people that you think you know, not always.
Yeah, there's people always have secrets that they don't tell anybody.
Like, for all we know, Eric might be into pegging.
No.
He probably is.
He's like,
no.
No.
That's exit only.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Spend the night with me, we'll find out.
Yeah. Gosh. I'm gonna wear a chastity belt over my ass.
You need a chastity plug?
No.
A butt plug?
No. What's the whole point of having a chastity belt?
I'll loan one to you.
No.
It comes with batteries, and I have the remote.
Anyways, this comes out, like, I've probably watched it. This might be my second, maybe third time, and depending on when I watched it with you, I don't remember how many times we watched it together. But, so, I mean, if I watch it again, yeah, if the mood's right, I guess.
That's a thing too. Yeah, it's a mood thing.
Yeah. But as far as, like, recommending it, yeah, I think I would still recommend it. It's like I said, especially to teenagers that's going in high school, whatever. Yeah. I think they still could learn lessons from this movie.
It's a little too late for me.
It doesn't just apply in high school. It applies just in life.
In life.
I think about that every day with some people. You know, you never know what that person's going through.
And hey, we're all guilty of judging by the cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're
right,
all
everybody does
guilty
that.
of it.
Yeah. Everybody does it. Everybody looks at somebody like, oh, you look like a preppy bitch that stuck up. For all you know, she's the nicest person on the planet.
Hey, I got sidestepped today. Like, got that, like, kind of like, and sidestepped today. And I was like, still got it.
Still got that rustin' bitch face.
And that's what everyone does to me at work. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
Basically that's how it was for me. I mean, I'd be on my bench at work.
People
usually don't.
I smile way too much at work for people to be intimidated by me. I'm like the happiest person at work.
You're creepy. That's like, don't go near the creepy guy.
I'm like the happiest person at work. I'm always smiling. And
Could you imagine if there's just somebody that's like,
yeah,
walking around, you'd be like,
it's funny. Brenton came in one day and he's like, I was like, hey, what's going on, Squirrel? He's like, dude, you're like the Walmart grader of Regal. He's like, every time somebody comes in here, you're like waving at them and smiling and shit. Like, well, I mean, you know, somebody's got to be positive around here.
Some of those Walmart greeters freak me out, okay?
Hey, if I was a Walmart greeter, I'd fuck with people. Like, they'd walk in and be like, hi!
I do that too. Like, we got a couple guys that come in the first thing in the morning, and one of his name's Tom. Every time he comes, how's it going, Joe? How's it going, Tom? Like, we're just really, really like,
Oh, gotcha.
you know, like, and he's an older guy. He's about to retire soon, but every time he comes in, he's always got a big smile on his face. And as soon as I see him, I got a big smile on my face. I'm like, how's it going, man? How's it going? And we're just really positive with each other. And I think that's a good way to be.
That's how Gary used to be when we were over there in the old blue building.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that way anymore now.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, like, I mean, I'd recommend it, but watch it again. Just, like I said, I have to be in the mood for it.
Right. All right, well, we are going to read the movie. Spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen it, just go check it out. And Madison, take it away.
Well, before you start reading, though, this was something that I happened to think of just kind of like at the beginning of the movie. One of the things that struck me is, like, as millennial parents, we're very in tune to talking to our kids when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Because we had the parents that were like, you did wrong, you're grounded, get to your room. But don't you want to know anything? I don't give a shit, go away. Like, that was our parents in a nutshell. Like, they didn't care, you were in trouble, go away, be out of my face.
Yeah.
We're very
I got yelled at even whenever I wasn't in trouble.
Yeah, we're very in tune to our kids in the why of things. And I feel like if there was just a modicum of that for these kids, I mean, holy shit.
I really think that the generation of kids that we're raising right now, I think that we have a good shot with those kids. I think those kids...
I hope so, but I also think that we go too far with it sometimes. Because then we understand. Like, we're asking the whys, and you get that one kid that realizes, like, oh, they feel sorry for me. Like, they can push it, right?
We know somebody like that.
So that's what I'm saying, is that you have to be careful. Even that, I'm starting to think
that's
about.
True.
I'm starting to think about. Hey, maybe our parents were right to just be like, I don't give a shit. But obviously,
there's
you've got
a
these
line.
moments.
You have a line.
You've got a line. These kids needed the why.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask Andrew, why did you do that to Lester? Whatever, Larry Lester. Why did you do that? You know, like, there would be some change. I feel like if people really knew why he did it, right?
Right.
So on and so forth.
But do you really think Andrew would have, I want to say, admitted that to his dad?
To someone he felt safe talking to, yes.
Yeah.
And that's my point, is that, like, as parents, we are sort of our kids' safe space now to say, like, okay, you're in trouble, but I need to understand. Why did you do this? Or, you know, what's going on? Tell me the story. What's happening? There's a narrative here, right?
Well, yeah, there's a reason why my kids are open with me. And it's always been, ask Madison, there's always been dialogue between us. Like, she would cry, I'd tell her to get out of my face if she's going to cry, and then when she was done crying, I'd tell her to come back and we'd have that conversation.
Right.
Like, hey, why do you think you're in trouble? Blah, blah,
Go
blah.
to your room until you're done crying.
Yeah, I hated crier. Don't cry. It's a waste of time. You're not doing anything. I don't feel bad for you. Don't cry.
It's not going to fix
All
anything.
you do is piss me off when you cry.
I don't care
Seriously,
how
I agree
old
with your
you
dad.
are.
That's
I don't
That's
care
not
how
the
old
wrong
you
way.
are. You're letting your
6-year-olds
emotions.
cry.
You're letting your emotions get the better of you. Don't cry. Come to me. Let's have a conversation.
And I still cry. He didn't stop anything.
No, they still cry like babies.
Well, but I mean, sometimes that can't be helped. Sometimes, like, you know what, I get mad enough, I cry. Or, like, if I'm upset, like, I cry. Even though I am not, I don't like to cry. Like, I would rather be punched in the stomach 17 times than cry.
Not me. When I get mad, my blood pressure goes up so damn high, I get ready to black out.
I'm not the girly man. I do not cry. Anyway, go ahead and read
my face
read
gets,
the
like,
movie.
red.
Let's
I'm
get
just
the shit
pissed.
started. We're 50 minutes in already.
All right, on a Saturday, March 24th, 1984, 5 high school students report for all-day detention. Each comes from a different clique: Pampered Claire Standish, Geek Brian Johnson, Wrestler Andrew Clark, Delinquent John Bender, and Outcast Allison Reynolds. They gather in the school library where Assistant Principal Richard Vernon instructs them not to talk, move from their seats, or sleep until they are released at 4 p.m. He assigns them a 1,000-word essay in which each must describe who you think you are. He leaves, returning only occasionally to check on them.
Why didn't you just sit at the desk in the library?
There's offices in the
Yeah,
library.
like he could have shut the door.
I
And
didn't
still been
understand
able to
that.
see
Why
them.
did he leave them in that room by themselves, especially with that Bender kid in there? You knew he's gonna fuck up.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, the only thing I can come up with is that Vernon wanted to be a snoop, right? So that's why he's not a principal. Okay,
He wanted to catch him.
he could be a vice principal, maybe. But think about it. He has an office, which most teachers don't have. That's true. But he doesn't have like a reception area for,
He's got a fairly small office. Yeah.
right. So, and then also he's in the personnel files.
He reminded me almost like a gym teacher.
Yeah, something like that. Because like he's in the personnel file. If he's the principal, he's not there for detention.
I was more on your level, more like a vice principal.
Maybe.
Or like
But
It
even
just
they
said
have
right-
better offices.
or assistant principal.
It just said
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm
vice
saying. Even they have
principal.
It
better.
just said assistant principal.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think that's true, though. I really just don't, because he would have access to personnel files, too. Instead of getting caught and Carl being like, oh, really?
Well, maybe that's something that only the principal himself or the superintendent can look at.
Yeah, I would say that.
But if that's the case, why the fuck is it in a room where anybody can just go in and look at it?
Yeah,
Especially
like,
the janitor.
I don't think I think he's just like some high-ranking teacher.
Could be, yeah.
His office is really what tones me, because like even vice principals have a secretary.
High-ranking
Or maybe
teachers.
that's just nowadays when, they want to pass
It's
levies. and
Chicago,
get their-
though, so you would think that he would have an office.
Right.
So, all right.
High-ranking teachers won't have a small office, though. Regardless, they would have a teacher's lounge,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't have their own little office.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make sense. And he's got a girly magazine or a girly like calendar up there, and that's not a vice principal.
All right. John has an antagonistic relationship with Vernon, ignores the rules, and riles up the other students, teasing and harassing Brian, Andrew, and Claire. Vernon gives John 8 weekends worth of additional detention and eventually locks him in a storage closet, but he escapes and returns to the library.
All I could think during that scene where he's like, all right, that's another Saturday. All I could think was,
Eeny, meeny, money, mo.
yeah, all I could think was,
Not another teen movie.
movie. John, stop. Like, it was so fucking dumb. I was just the whole time thinking, not another teen movie.
The overaction too. He's
Yeah.
like, John, stop. Like,
Sorry.
The students pass the hours by talking, arguing, and at one point smoking marijuana. Gradually, they open up and reveal their secrets. Claire has experiences of peer pressure. John comes from an abusive household. Allison calls herself a compulsive liar. Andrew can't think for himself, and Brian contemplated suicide over a bad grade. They discover they all have poor relationships with their parents. Claire's parents use her to get back at each other during arguments.
They really,
John, can I finish the
Yeah.
sentence? Thank you. John's parents physically and verbally abuse him. Allison's parents ignore her, and Andrew's father pushes him to the limit, especially in wrestling. Oh my god, this is a long sentence. And Brian's parents pressure him to earn high grades.
So Brian, his whole thing with trying to commit suicide and stuff, they quickly shrugged that off as funny. They're like, "Oh, that's funny. You used a flare gun, you idiot!" Like, hold on, dude. What's
flare
stopping
gun
him from
would
getting a real
be
gun? Like,
worse.
you don't understand. He was thinking about killing himself. Like, and you guys are laughing at the fact that he didn't have a real gun. Like,
he laughed too.
yeah, he laughed too, but still.
No,
though,
I
mean,
agree.
like,
That
yeah.
I thought the
They
same.
definitely
thing.
shrugged off his problems like they weren't real problems. I'm like,
Right.
hold on a fucking
I
minute.
just
here.
think, like you said, he easily had the most alarming story, and and her question didn't even make sense to me. Like when she's like, "Was it a handgun?"
Yeah,
Like, why would you ask that? You assume, right?
doesn't matter what kind of gun it was.
Well, even still, like that. If somebody says to me, "I brought a gun to school and I was going to kill myself with it," my first reaction isn't, "Was it a handgun?"
Mhm.
I'm
Or
going
was it
to
a
assume
shotty?
it was. I'm going to assume it was, and then that whole flare gun thing never even happens, right? But even still, a flare gun can kill somebody.
It
Yeah,
would be
the fuck?
worse.
if you do this with a flare gun, it's gonna kill you.
It would be worse.
Yeah. Probably.
It's not going to go through the back of your skull. It's going to go in your mouth and then explode and burn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna. Yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be a bad way to go out for
Phosphorus grenade, pretty much.
No,
in your mouth.
Yeah.
sure.
I'm just saying that the capacity to kill is still there.
Yeah,
That's all
exactly.
I'm
That's what I'm
saying.
saying. Like, damn, dude, you guys just shrugged that
Like
shit off.
he
and
was
laughed
not
about
looking for a quick death. Let's put it that way.
Like, hey, oh yeah, by the way,
I
can
don't
you write
think
our
he-
paper for us?
I don't think he
That's exactly what I
thought
was
it through.
No.
I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't.
That would not be a quick death. That would be a very painful, slow, and agonizing death.
Go ahead.
The students realize that despite their differences, they face similar problems. Claire gives Allison a makeover, which sparks romantic interest from Andrew. Claire decides to break her pristine, virginal appearance by kissing John and giving him a hickey. Although they suspect their new relationships will end along with their detention. They believe their mutual experiences will change the way that they look at their peers. As the detention nears its end, the group requests that Brian complete the essay for everyone.
Yeah, and that.
And John returns to the storage closet to fool Vernon into thinking he has not left. Brian leaves the essay in the library for Vernon to read after they leave. As the students part ways, Allison and Andrew kiss, as do Claire and John. Allison rips Andrew's state champion patch from his jacket to keep, and Claire gives John one of her diamond earrings, which he puts on. Vernon reads the essay in which Brian states that Vernon has already judged who they are using stereotypes. In fact, the students found that each one of us is a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. He signs off the letter with, "Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club."
So, like, they made the kid, the smart kid, the one that was trying to kill himself, write out the essay by himself.
Yes.
Like, what kind of shady shit is that?
While the rest of them made out
Fuck
in
around.
corners. Yeah.
While the rest of them fucked around.
They really did too. They're like, he's gonna go write this paper. You want to go fuck in the closet? Like, I'll give you a hickey. You know, like what the fuck?
Yeah, what kind of
Fucking
shit
dicks.
is that?
And yeah,
Like, yeah,
to be
we're all
fair,
friends now, but
It was good. Like, the letter was good.
yeah, it was
It
good. It
was
was a good
really
letter.
good.
So good on him.
Very emotional.
Do
Best kind of letter is emotional.
you guys have anything you want to talk about on this? Because we got to get rolling here. And
No,
we can run right.
I
into
didn't
the
have
reviewing.
anything really that I wrote down.
Okay.
other
I
than-
figured all of.
I
the-
wrote down my like review because I had stuff
Right.
I didn't want to forget.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's go,
Ran right. It wasn't a very long plot though either.
I feel like with that part alone, with them making him write out the essay, they obviously did not grow as a person in that.
And using him for his brain.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and rate and review. Rate the movie. We'll start with Madison. Madison, go ahead and what do you think of The Breakfast Club?
I don't really think anything about this movie, I'm not going to be honest. Or,
You're not gonna be honest.
I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest.
That's fucked up, man. You're not gonna be
Um,
honest.
She said, "Fuck
Maybe
being
it's like a
honest
whole
on this
manipulation
podcast."
tactic. Like, they were all in it from the beginning except for the nerdy guy. They just really wanted the nerdy guy to write that one essay. You know?
I mean, I don't think that's the point of the movie, but
Shh, 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 shh.
okay.
My opinion, not yours. Anyways, right, Karen?
It's wrong, though.
No, it's my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what you got from the movie, I guess.
I guess, but I feel like you're missing a shit ton of things.
I mean,
Missing a
you
lot
asked
of
her
it.
what your opinion was. She said you're wrong.
Yeah, you did ask.
It's
me.
funny because we
No,
watched
I
this
said
movie.
You said right.
my opinion.
It is your opinion.
It's your opinion,
just
but you
wrong.
asked Karen a question. You asked
And
her
then
if
that
you
was
were
her
right.
opinion. And
No,
she said it
I
was
asked-
wrong.
Yeah, that's
no,
my
I
opinion.
asked her to reinstate what she says all the time.
Yeah, it's your opinion, but
Yeah.
I tell your dad all the time he's wrong.
Yeah, but he is
and he
wrong all
tells
the
me
time.
I'm wrong. I mean, that's just
Yeah, but
Just
he
because
is
it's an
wrong.
opinion doesn't make it correct.
Both of them just say you're a dumbass.
no. You can say
Listen,
anything
listen,
you want. You
listen,
can say anything
bucko.
you want on your review. You can, but
Oh,
on
okay.
movies like this, there is a larger message here.
Oh, there's a
You didn't
huge
get it.
message. in
Okay,
this
I get the
movie.
message, you guys. I was
Okay.
kidding.
Okay.
Oh my god. Calm down.
I'm just throwing it. I want you
Calm
to.
down,
I want
guys.
you
I'm
to
not
grow.
stupid.
I want you to grow as a person, Madison.
I
It's
genuinely-
important to me as one of my favorite people. I need you to grow as
Yeah.
a person.
I've grown.
Your personality, not your head.
This is what Karen's thinking.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your
Bitch, I will
soul.
fucking drown you.
Yeah, you have to catch me first.
You heard it here. If she comes up missing,
You're not running in your sleep.
right?
Neither is he.
Why would I
He's
go?
barely
anywhere?
running while he's awake.
I'm not afraid of you. I don't run when I'm awake. Why would I run?
You
I've
just
nothing to run.
die tired.
Way too tired anyway.
Right. Fuck it.
So you're admitting you'd be the first to die in a horror movie?
Probably, yeah.
Either that or I'd be the one killing everybody.
I'm
You gotta be able
going to
to run
fight.
to get away from them too.
Not
that
true.
guy.
You've
I'm
seen
not-
Friday the 13th?
I'm not running. I'm
No.
going to fight.
Anyway, give us your review.
Oh yeah. Every time I do my review, it always turns into a topic about something else. Yeah.
It does.
I like making conversation with you guys. It's nice, and it's the only time Dad tries not to interrupt me. So
Tries being the key word.
yeah.
It's like what I heard was it's the only time Dad listens to me.
I listen to her all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
No,
It was
he
just
doesn't.
funny
He
because the
tunes
way
me
she
out.
said it.
He tunes me out.
No,
we
usually when
start
she-
tuning it out.
Usually when
it
she
starts,
says something, it's like, what?
No,
when it
that's
starts,
Gavin, your other child.
when a dad starts tuning his kid out is when the kid starts spouting off nonsense that we're not
That's
Listening
Gavin.
to.
have nothing to do
Like
or
Skibbity Toilet.
that.
No,
Yeah.
okay, that's a lot different than the things
It's
that
fucking
I say.
what the fuck?
I don't
Like if
know.
you
I don't
start talking
understand
about
either.
things that are going on in school that I don't know
That don't pertain to anything at home.
that or it's just
Gavin does
doesn't
that all the
pertain
time.
to
He'll start talking about his
anything,
friend
really.
at school, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know this kid, and I don't care.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
that's
care.
when we start
That
like
kid.
tuning out,
Yeah.
You guys are tuning out
and
right
then
now.
we tune back in when it starts coming into like a
Something that
logical conversation.
Something I care about.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes, parents are selfish. All
Wake up.
right, come on, review.
Anyways, sorry. I figured if I said wake up, in case the people on the other end were snoozing a little bit from the dad lecture. Sorry, you guys.
This dad's gonna make you swallow that fucking
Children
microphone.
do the same thing. They tune out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Anyways, I liked this movie. It was okay, I guess. It was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care for people screaming at each other for an hour and a half or however long this movie was. I got bored really fast.
That's that short-term media
Yep.
that we're talking about.
They were
nowadays,
just
that you
yelling
guys-
at each other for an hour and a half.
You weren't obviously
Absolutely
paying attention
not.
to the.
No,
Okay,
you
it
weren't
wasn't
paying
Ninja
attention.
Turtles, my sorry.
Okay, guys, you know what? Seriously, it's her review.
Unless you want to hit with
Don't you
shoes.
tell
Mom
me
has
what
spoken.
to do.
No, I'm just saying, like,
No,
you know,
I agree. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's her review.
Go on.
They do always attack me all day. Anyways, it was okay. I'm gonna give it a 6
It's higher than I thought you would.
Right? To put-
and a half.
I'm saying that's seriously higher than I thought you would have put. I thought you were going to give
All
it
right.
like
Did you put a
4.
6 or a 6 and a half?
I thought you said 6.5.
6
You want
and
me-
a half, 6 and a half. Just leave it like that.
All right. For me, I'm not a huge. This movie is irrelevant to me at this point in life. Like, this movie serves me no moral purpose. It doesn't do me anything because these are all lessons that I learned a long time ago.
Yeah.
So for me, in this movie, it doesn't mean the same as it should to Madison's.
It should.
It should.
I'm out of high school. I'm over that
It's okay.
fad.
Wait, did you just refer to high school as a fad?
Yeah.
As if it goes away at some point. Like, we're just not going to have high school.
In a couple years, it's gonna fade out. Don't worry, guys.
We graduated.
Something new will come along. Like
we graduated 8th grade now,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
It's funny.
that's exactly what happens.
Anyway, like I said, this movie is something. These are lessons that I learned years ago. I knew it all before high school, actually, because that's just kind of how I thought as a kid. But I could see why this movie is relevant to kids and why it's important for kids to learn these lessons and why this movie should be important to kids and for parents to show this to their kids. But I don't feel like they do it anymore. This isn't a lesson that's very well learned or taught anymore. And it's not a movie that's even shown whenever those sort of subjects come up, at least with most parents. But I will say that the lesson is there in the movie, and I think it's a good lesson to teach your kids. Do I think that the movie could use some updating? Yes, of course it could. Do I think that if they did update it, they would do a poor shit show of a job of it? Yes, of course I do.
1,000%.
Because it'd be a Disney thing.
It would be, they wouldn't care about the overall actual story of like home life and things. They'd be more concerned on gender politics and all these other things that really just should not be a major concern for kids nowadays. Their main concern for kids nowadays should be, how to get through life and how to not judge other people and things like that. Not like, well, don't judge that person because he wants to be a girl or whatever.
I want to see Bender in a room with a boy that thinks he's a girl.
Oh my god, that would be terrible.
Oh, I would fucking die.
Dude, he'd get canceled so
I
fast.
know.
That movie wouldn't even make it to filming.
No.
But anyway, I think that
What's up with this Bender guy? He seems really angry at this. Oh,
Oh God.
I don't think we can make this movie.
Cheryl used to be Chad. I see.
But I
we went to elementary, goddammit.
I'm glad because whenever we watched it last night and we watched it with Madison, her older sister Ada, and then their friend Bella was over. She watched it and Gavin watched it, and I think Gavin. It's hard. Gavin usually doesn't sit down and watch movies with us, and he sat down and watched that movie with us, and I guarantee you, took the most from it. I guarantee you, he took the most from it. But these are probably lessons that he already knows. This isn't something he's learning. He already knows these things. So I think that the movie has a lot of things, a lot to say, but I just don't think it's not speaking the language that the kids can understand nowadays.
Yeah.
With the way, like Madison was bored by it because she wasn't paying attention because they're used to short.
I was paying attention.
But how sad is that? Honestly?
That's very fucking sad because that means they're never going to enjoy certain, like, it's so, maybe it's their age and maybe as they get older they appreciate things more, but I can't even say that because at Madison's age I was enjoying beautiful things. Like one of the best movies to come out whenever we were her age was Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. It's not a fucking overly
they need bling. They need action. They need explosions.
Okay, that's not true because I can sit through the director's cut of The Lord of the Rings for 4.5 hours.
That's
okay?
different.
No,
you
it's
ruined
not.
my review because I was gonna say I don't understand how you can watch the trees fucking walk and be like, "Oh yeah, this is amazing," but then you have these profound
Stop making fun of me for liking Lord of the Rings.
Cultural significance happening in this movie, and you're like, it's boring and it's stupid.
I didn't say it was stupid. I said it was boring.
Only time I was awake during.
And I never said I wouldn't watch it again. I said, yeah, probably. I didn't say I hated the movie. It just wasn't as good as The Goonies. I gave The Goonies a 10.
Well, nothing's as good as The Goonies.
Exactly!
The Goonies kind of has the same sort of, overall.
They're outcasts, really.
Yeah.
Lesson.
But
The
anyway,
overall lesson.
so I think for me, the movie's
Dogging
dated
on me for not liking one movie.
Today might be the day she's gonna kill us all.
Over a grade.
We only dog on that movie because you don't like other movies that people walk in.
What are you talking about?
They live.
yeah.
I made a TikTok. That whole exchange between the two of them.
Oh yeah.
I don't
I'll have
remember
to
what
show
you're
it to
talking
you.
about, but I feel like it made me look like an idiot.
Because you stated the fact that the movie.
You were like, he just walks
He
around
just walks
for,
for the first half an hour, and I was like, you like Lord of the Rings?
That's
You watch
different. At
3
least they're
movies
talking
at
about
once.
Eric and I
something
kind of Clerks
interesting.
tutor,
Yeah.
and I made like a Clerks 2 sort of TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check that out on TikTok.
I'm not. I haven't.
You know what?
She hasn't
No
finished
one
it.
can ever change my mind about it.
Oh, it's finished. I just try to.
I don't
want
to change your mind because Lord of the Rings movies are good. Don't get me wrong; they are good, but they walk in the movie. You got to admit to it. All they do is
they
walk.
walk in the movie. How are they supposed to get across the Shire if they don't walk?
You mean to
Forever, all of them walk forever.
They have to get out of the shower.
Out of the shower? They gotta get out of the shower.
Somehow.
The Shire.
How are they supposed to get to where they need to go?
Horses.
Really? What
All right.
part did you miss? Listen, the hobbits aren't tall enough to ride horses.
Bullshit! They don't ride horses. You got fucking was it Pippin riding horses all
That
the
was a
time?
pony.
It's a fucking horse.
You're gonna make her throw up.
It's a horse for a fucking hobbit.
Back to my review.
And the only time the
Shut
dwarf-
up. All right.
And the only time the dwarf gets on horses whenever it's on the back of Legolas's thing.
Thank you. Shut up. Let me finish my review. We're running low on time.
Oh my god!
Don't throw my
Lord,
duck.
man.
What's wrong with you?
I didn't break
Let
anything.
go.
Calm down. You fucking psycho.
What my duck ever do to you?
All right. Anyway, so my review.
I didn't throw it.
I'm going to give the movie a 7.5 because I think it has a lot to say. It sucks that it doesn't have, it doesn't say it in the right way for kids nowadays.
Right.
So it sucks that that's the case. I think that the movie does have a lot of, it does have a lesson to be heard, but kids aren't listening anymore. So
I was listening just now.
okay.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, it's definitely still significant, I feel like, and I guess for me it's a shame that kids can't get into it to pay attention to those themes because I think they're still very profound, at least for that age range, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of go with what I wrote down because I don't want to forget anything. I feel like that stuff was pretty good, but it's a lot harder to take this movie as profound like I did when I was younger, but the acting is still amazing and the point still stands. Kids feel isolation in high school while also isolating other kids to feel better. It's a very nasty cycle. Also, other kids see each other the same way, like he said, in the movie, like, how do you put it? Like in the simplest terms and the most convenient ways. Right? We all look at each other in a box and we say, oh yeah, that guy's a jock or this guy's a, whatever. And we're kind of brainwashed in that way to look at each other that way. So like these molds that kids have to fit into, that's never changed. Kids still feel like they have to fit in a mold to do whatever it is, whether it's going to school, having friends, whatever, they have to fit into these molds, not just for themselves, but their friends and their parents. Overall, the point of this movie is that all of us have more in common than not, and the bullies, jocks, princesses, etc. all have life outside of our point of view. And we also take this into adulthood, or you should take it into adulthood and understand that someone's always going through something that you have no idea about. Just because they look or talk or act a certain way doesn't mean they are that way. And, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot that you could take out of this movie if you choose to. And, yeah, I'm going to go with an 8 because I still think it's pretty good.
So one of the driving factors of this, we were watching the movie last night and their friend Bella was over. And Bella is very insecure about her weight. She's been trying to lose more weight, things like that. She's very insecure about it. But she's also very judgmental of people, I've realized. Is she not? So she's very judgmental of other people, and she's always gossiping and things like that. And I figured that this is the type of movie that a girl like her needs to be watching.
Well, you ever notice when people are hypocritical, it's usually because they don't realize that they have
exactly.
Those traits.
And it's funny because like I was thinking like, man, this is the kind of movie that Bella definitely needs to watch. But guess what she was doing during half of the movie? Staring at her phone.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say.
So, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie just doesn't appeal to kids nowadays because they can't pull their fucking faces out of their phone, social media, whatever, to pay attention. They don't want to pay attention anymore. They their hand spoon-fed everything in 10 to 30 second videos and that's all they consume for the day.
I think kids nowadays worry way too much about what other people think of themselves than like what we thought, back in the day.
Oh,
we didn't really
Yeah.
care what other people thought about us.
Not particularly.
I mean, you
we to an
did,
extent.
but
We did
at the
enough.
same,
We did enough to
not
pay.
as much as kids
Yeah.
do.
Right.
Not as much as what kids do nowadays.
Right. I
They
agree with that.
really,
I think that kids definitely care more.
There's a
Especially
huge
with
amount of
social
pressure,
media.
and I think it's social media that pushes it. There's a huge amount of pressure for kids. And I guess that's another reason that I think this movie is still relevant, is that the pressure's changed, but it's still there. And I think it would also be nice for kids to see, like, hey, you're not going through this by yourself. This is something every kid goes through,
Yeah.
Well, that's also why I believe that some artists coming out nowadays, I can appreciate them a little more. Like Billie Eilish is one of those artists that I'm like, hate her or like her, I don't care if you do or not. But she's one of those artists that comes out and she wears these baggy clothes and wears whatever she wants on stage. And I think that's great, man, because she comes out and she says, be whoever the fuck you want to be. Be you. You know what I mean? Like, wear baggy clothes if you want to wear baggy clothes. Be different. You know what I mean? I think that's the right way to think. You know, and as much as I dog on Lady Gaga, she's the same way. She encourages people to be who they are. Just be different if you want to be different. You know, and even though Katy Perry's a fucking weirdo, she does the same thing. She encourages girls to just be yourself.
Ever since that astronaut thing, I
Yeah,
lost a lot of
that's-
Did
respect
she
for
ever
her.
go to
Yeah.
the moon?
No,
She spent 11 minutes in space, allegedly.
that wasn't even space. It was like the hemisphere,
Outer
like
is
the
the
outer rim
outer,
of our
yeah.
hemisphere,
Mm.
or whatever.
We're
Yeah.
astronauts.
No, you're not astronauts, Gail
Okay.
King.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Eric, go ahead.
So this movie, I think it could have done better. Like I liked the movie from the beginning throughout up to the like ending area. The ending just fell off for me.
Yeah, I forgot to
So-
mention with the girls. Like,
The girls, what
I
they did
hated
to
Claire's situation.
Brian, and so on and so forth. It's like they didn't learn how to treat the nerdy kids. Should say, like they still portray them. Oh, you're the brain, and you know everything. So why don't you write this essay out for us? Like no. So
I wish you could have come out the other side saying that they were going to be friends or something.
like that, and if they would have like hey, let's write this together. Brian, do you want to write, and then we would tell you, or
I
hey,
see
you
where
write
you're, I
where
see
you're
where you're
going.
coming from, but the problem here is it kind of also shows that these kids don't. It shows that who they truly are when they're not around the people that heavily influence them.
Yes,
And because it tells me, you know what that tells me? High school ain't shit. It doesn't mean
It's
a
not.
No, it
fucking
isn't.
thing.
I mean, as soon as you
It doesn't mean a
graduate, it
fucking
doesn't
thing.
matter
It
anymore.
doesn't matter anymore.
Not anything matters
No.
from
As
high
soon as
school.
you're out and you're an adult, you're whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have friends or a certain social clique to impress.
Yeah.
Like you go out in the world and you're like, well, now I get to do and be whoever I want to be.
right.
You know, and that's the best part about it. You know, high school was just, it's a social fucking, I don't know.
Nightmare.
Like I say, it helps people develop, but it just,
It
if anything, it
diminishes
makes
you.
kids dumber. Like,
It
because it makes
diminishes
them
them.
think that they have to be accepted, and they don't. They have to just be who they are, and
I
Then
disagree with that.
also-
I think kids put that on themselves
that's what I mean.
because I never gave a shit.
Right? Yeah.
No.
I cared enough to like bathe and look nice, and then that was it. If you liked me, cool. If you didn't, I don't care.
Well, it's kind of like Claire's case whenever she said that she was going to treat them a certain way because her friends were around. But that's the type of bullying right there. Her friends would bully her for being nice to those people. Hey, why were you nice to him? Like he's a nerd or whatever, or he's a dirtball.
I mean, you know how freeing that is? Just be like, I don't care,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
like you don't have to care who you're.
But
sitting
that's what
with
I'm
at
saying,
lunch.
though, that,
Like,
that she is essentially bullied by her own friends
oh, absolutely,
to be that way.
100%.
So
Yeah, and that's how I was in school. I really didn't care what other people thought about me. You know, I had friends in every clique there was. I had, you know, I want to say like friends, like, oh, they were my best buddy. It was mostly like associates or whatever. But, you know, I was friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
As long as they had a good personality or whatever, and they were a good person, I had no problems with them. They, you know, now I was always the type guy that would stick up for the kids that always got picked on.
Yeah.
It's just who I was. But so like I said, I'm going back into my review on this. I liked the movie up to towards the ending, and that's where it fell off for me because I started, you know, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I'll probably give this movie probably, you know, 8.5. But then the ending hit, and I was just like, man, that really fell off for me. So I'm going to come in at probably about a 7.
It's decent. Yeah, I just didn't like, especially for like Allison. I loved Allison, the way she was. And then it's like, oh, the boy won't notice you until you have your makeover.
yeah,
Like, who gives a shit?
didn't like
He
that
either
either.
likes
Well,
or he doesn't.
He was already noticing her. You could
That's
see
true.
that.
but I think that it was more of
Her coming out.
her
of her
coming
shell.
out of her shell and him being like, you're beautiful, show your face off. You know what I mean? Like, you're a beautiful person. You know,
I liked her better the way she was.
Well, the reason why she was like that was because she didn't feel accepted. She felt ignored by her parents. and things
By
like that.
everybody.
But she wasn't ignored by him, and that's why she was more comfortable with, you know,
Showing
pulling her
him.
hair back and showing herself off.
I guess I don't like it. It feels like she had to change herself in order to be noticed, and I don't agree with that. and I didn't agree with Claire and Bender because all he did the whole time was
Berate
sexualize her, bully her, berate her, and then she's gonna go and like, oh, it's all fine. Like that's fucking what's that syndrome?
Stockholm.
That's Stockholm syndrome 101.
Yeah.
It's like the Beauty and the Beast fucking timeline. You know, it's all bullshit.
I hate you.
It all
I
happened
can
within,
fix him.
and it all happened within an 8-hour period.
I can fix him. No, honey. No, honey, you can't.
She literally
He
screamed.
can fix himself, but
Maybe.
you can't do it.
Karen.
Huh?
He literally screamed, "I hate you," or she literally screamed, "I hate you" at him, and then 5 minutes later in the movie, she's trying to give him a hickey.
Yeah.
30 years later, they got about 4 kids. She's the fat version of Claire, and he beats them all.
Mm-hmm.
That's their future. I mean, honestly, if she went into that thinking, "Oh, we're all changed now," or "Oh, I can change him," honey, that's not how it works.
He was actually the one with the least amount of development. Like, he was still the same person at the end of the movie as he was at the beginning of the movie.
I don't know. He seems softer.
Only because she came in and gave him a fucking hickey.
No, I mean with everyone.
I don't know, maybe.
Like, he
Well,
came-
he also got high. Like, yeah,
But I mean, after
Movie
that
magic,
wears off or
yeah.
whatever, you know what I'm
Movie
saying? Like, they
magic.
weren't. He was still. I liked Bender. I thought Bender was one of the best characters. I
I think
understand.
they're fun.
I'm not gonna.
Anyway, let's move on
it's
here.
just like your opinion or something, man.
Just like your opinion. Oh yeah, we got to do Rotten Tomatoes. What's our aggregate?
Oh, it is 7.25.
That's about
I
right.
bet it's higher than that to the critics.
Critics, yeah, I mean, probably. I would probably sit there maybe 82.
Oh,
Critics.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm going 89. Before you can say it, I'm saying
I'm saying
89.
80.
80?
Dad's gonna take it. It's an 87%.
Hmm?
Yeah. I knew it was going to be up there. It was near 90.
You almost had it, dude.
It's all right.
It's always these two.
Not
I
true.
get it every
Well,
now
Karen
and then.
cheats when she wins, but...
Oh, okay.
We know,
What
we
the
know.
fuck, dude?
All right. The critics' consensus: if the Breakfast Club's gestures towards authenticity
That's the word.
are occasionally undercut by trendy flourishes, its blistering emotional honesty and talented trope of young actors catapult it to the top of the teen comedy class.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely
I'm sticking with 80.
one of the biggest
For
teen
audience, I'm going to go lower. I'm going to sit there and
I
say
bet it's lower than critics.
I just don't wanna win.
65.
comedies.
I said 80.
I said
80,
I just
65.
stated 80.
I don't think it's that low.
It's probably in the
I
70s.
think you're right, though. I think it's going to be around 80.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured it was gonna be lower. Honestly.
I'm going to take the high ball. I'm going to go 85.
What'd you say?
80.
Dad's gonna take it. It's a 92.
Damn. I didn't know it was going to be that high.
Oh,
It's higher than the critics.
I figured most people would be like,
Nostalgia.
"There's no gay people." You know what I mean?
There's no black people. There's no gay people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know they're not gay? Like maybe they came out later. You don't know.
Yeah. Brian.
Yeah, he didn't
Brian
have
could be gay.
Brian. I like Brian. Hey, he did his weird science voice in
I
there
saw
too. Oh
that,
God,
yeah.
I was rolling. I'm like,
I was
yes,
like, yeah,
there he
there it
is. There he is.
All right. Colin W gave half a star. People talk in a circle for an hour. Peak cinema right there. That was January 5th.
People used to talk, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's how people used to communicate back in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't through computer screens.
Daniel B, half a star. The only good part about the movie was when the pre-credits were rolling and the music was playing. After that, it went downhill to the boredom pit.
I don't like the song.
And then this
I
person
don't.
said it was boring.
Really?
I really don't.
Every time I hear the song, that's all I think is Breakfast Club.
well,
Oh, of
that,
course,
that's, I mean,
What
that
was it? What
is
song
pinnacle,
is it
but
again?
I just,
the theme.
yeah, I never
Don't
really
you
cared
forget
for
about
it.
me.
Don't you
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum.
forget me.
I never cared for it.
You're wrong.
Your face is wrong.
I know.
Half a star, no name. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Cringiest film with the most unorganized plot.
It's
Waste of
very
time.
cringy at times.
Yeah.
Unorganized plot?
I wouldn't say it's
Yeah,
unorganized, though.
At times.
Yeah.
I
I guess it is
don't
kind of
agree.
just random throughout the movie. But what do you
Every now
expect
and
from
then.
5 kids just sitting in a library together?
What did they want them to sit in the library
Yeah.
the whole time, or like?
Right.
I think my favorite part is when Bender fell through the roof. That was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
So
That was kind of funny, though. Yeah,
Ah, fuck!
I forgot my pencil.
I forgot my pencil.
Oh, he didn't forget his pencil. He forgot his weed.
Aiden A, 3 stars. It might be a cult classic.
But that's what he said.
But I did not think it was good. The acting was subpar, and that under the table scene made my skin crawl.
And then she still gets with him later.
That was borderline rapey.
Of course it was. And then she still gets with him later. So what would, I mean, be as rapey as you want. You'll get the girl.
He made
Lesson
her
learned.
Sarcasm for anyone that can't see my face.
Don't blast that.
I'm just saying. That's exactly what it's saying.
That's exactly
that whole
what it's
movie,
saying,
like
yeah.
he's done nothing but berate
sexualize
her.
her, and yeah, and then at the end of the movie, she hooks up with him.
What kind of respect do you have for yourself? And you're like, it's fine.
And then she goes through his wallet and finds all these pictures of girls that he hooks up with randomly.
Yeah, he's like, some I just consider, and some I consider my girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Anyway,
Jack L coming in with a 0.5 star. All he said was, "I like dinner more than breakfast."
That's pretty funny. That's good.
This chick spelled her name weird, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say Veronica.
How do you spell your own name wrong?
It's VER, a capital A with a weird squiggly over it, then a little cubic 3, and then it's NICA. So.
Oh, she's being cool.
Yeah,
I wish I could be that cool.
I know how to text different things other than letters.
Everybody knows how to do that.
They do?
Being sarcastic.
I know people that do that shit.
I know.
I don't, but I know how. Kinda. I have to look up what face I want if I were to do it, but I can find the buttons on my keyboard. Alright, 1 star, Veronica P. Veronica Peas. No? Alright, anyways, 1 star. Finally watched this movie after seeing everyone rave about it all my life, and I think it's incredibly overrated. It feels like it's a movie about nothing. It has no substance beyond boring. That's a lot of what the 1 stars are.
I would have.
Like,
of course, those are probably like teenagers nowadays. Honestly.
Yeah, but I will agree it is overrated. The movie is overrated. It's a very overrated.
I think the thing that makes it overrated would be the
the time it was made.
The time. I don't think that
True.
the movie itself is overrated.
The plot of it is still there, but it's
just all
it's
80s
like
in
like
all
I
its
said,
80s
though,
cheesiness and glory.
I think
right?
that like I said though, it's aged, and it for that reason,
kids nowadays
it's overrated
are not
now.
going to.
But yeah, back then it was probably more relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see why it was a hit back then. You know what I mean? I'm sure it meant a lot to kids back then. Like
they learned from it.
Oh, here you go. So, there's 3 O's, by the way. Sahun C. Anyways. It's a 1.5 stars. It says, how this film is rated so highly, I'll never know. Think it's a prime example of not many good films being out in the 80s, so everyone loved what they had mixed with nostalgia of the kids seeing this when they were in school.
Wait, what did he saying that in Walking Dead? Pardon the shit out of my goddamn French. What did you just say?
Yeah. What the fuck, dude? Like that was like the golden era of like movies. It was. Like from like the mid to late 80s all the way up through like the mid 90s. That was like that 10-year period.
I would even argue you can go into early 2000s a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Quite a few hot shit.
Getting into like
that stuff was
Cheese Factory.
Yeah.
But like dude, like that era, actually all the way up through the 90s, dude. That was like the golden age of television. You're talking about bad movies now, man. There has not been there's been hardly any good movies released within the past 10 to 15 years.
Why do you think theaters are failing?
Mm-hmm.
If they were making good enough content for people to spend their money, they would.
Theaters are also failing because of Netflix and
all right, you guys, I got
all
one
the
more.
social.
But I'm saying like Netflix is making their own shit now too.
Oh, I'm just saying that's why movie theaters are honestly failing nowadays is because you got all these TV apps and movie apps.
TV shows do better than fucking movies now.
I'm just saying you got the TV apps and the movie apps nowadays.
A lot of that started with Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead. Those 2 shows came out, and you're like, holy shit.
And everybody was tuned the fuck in.
Media, like TV shows, dragging out a story and seeing everything about the story and investing yourself into it is the best part about it. And that's why I love TV shows, sometimes more than I like movies.
Just because you
can get invested in something.
Yeah, you got a longer,
you
can invest into the characters a little bit more.
Exactly.
All right, one more. Torn F gave it 2 stars. He said, considered a coming-of-age classic. The Breakfast Club has some memorable moments, sure, but is generally insufferable.
Prove your
This
protection,
single
Joseph.
line of plot summary essentially describes more than 2/3 of the film. John ignores the rules and spends most of his time bullying or harassing Claire, Brian, and Andrew. Skip to the end of the movie if you must see the cathartic denouement? I don't know. The ending.
Denominator.
No, it's not spelled like that. It's spelled like document, except weird. Alright. Otherwise, skip the film. Also, they never actually eat breakfast, do they?
No, they eat lunch, though.
Yes, they do.
They do eat lunch. Is that it?
Can I eat my food?
Yeah.
I don't know. You can try.
All right, let's go ahead and get into that trivia.
Sweet ass trivia with Karen.
In 2010, Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall told Vanity Fair magazine that John Hughes was receptive to actors and actresses' improvisations, and some of them, including Brian's reasons for having a fake ID, so I can vote, made it to the final film. The scene in which all characters sit in a circle on the floor in the library and tell stories about why they were in detention was not scripted. Writer and director John Hughes told them all to ad-lib. It was Ali Sheedy's idea to put Captain Crunch cereal in the sandwich to give it an extra crunch sound.
I knew that was her idea. Had to have been.
She actually doesn't like sweet stuff. It gave her a sugar high.
Oh, really?
Judd Nelson improvised the part at the closing of the film where Bender raises his fist in defiance. He was supposed to just walk into the sunset, so to speak, and John Hughes asked him to play around with a few actions. When he was done and they were finishing up, Nelson threw his fist up without running it by anyone. Everyone loved it, and it also became an iconic symbol of the 1980s. Judd Nelson stayed in character off camera, even bullying Molly Ringwald. John Hughes nearly fired him over this, but Paul Gleason defended Nelson, saying that he was a good actor and he was just trying to get into the character. John Hughes later said, this is probably to me the cringiest scene in the whole fucking movie. John Hughes later said that his biggest regret about this film was using the breaking glass effect during the marijuana scene. John Hughes wrote the screenplay.
That was so stupid.
It was.
It was so dumb.
John Hughes wrote the screenplay to this movie in just 2 days. However, getting the film greenlit by Universal wasn't easy because the executives complained there were no bare breasts, no party scene, no guys drinking beer, or other things they thought that a teenager picture needed at the time.
That's what they think it needs?
Yep.
What?
Needs tits and booze, man.
The joke that Bender tells while crawling through the ceiling but never finishes actually has no punchline. According to Judd Nelson, he ad-libbed the line. Originally, he was supposed to tell a joke that would end when he came back into the library and said, "Forgot my pencil." But no one could come up with a joke for that punchline. I have the punchline that someone came up with, though, and Judd Nelson thought it was the best. If anyone's interested.
I'm interested. Let's hear it.
All right. Here's the joke. A naked blonde walks into a bar carrying a poodle under one arm and a 6-foot salami under the other. The bartender says, "So I don't suppose you'd be needing a drink." The blonde says, "I definitely do after what just happened to me." The bartender says, "I'm so sorry. What happened?" The blonde says, "Well, my boyfriend and I were just about to make love when out of nowhere the crazy bastard says, 'I'm gonna pound my favorite bitch with my giant sausage.' So I grabbed them both and got the hell out of there."
Oh, the dog and the sausage.
I thought it was fucking funny. Shut up. Originally, only Claire was supposed to dance, but Molly Ringwald felt uncomfortable dancing alone, so John Hughes had the entire cast dance. Ringwald has said she regrets this because not only did she think her dancing was bad, her inability to do the dance solo led to the artifice of the MTV-type choreographed dancing, which she feels hurt the movie.
She danced like every other 80s person danced.
Yeah, I was going to say, it didn't bother me none.
Yeah, I didn't think her dancing was terrible,
No.
and I kind of liked the dance scene. It was fun.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Nicolas Cage was originally considered for the role of John Bender, but the production could not afford his salary at the time. John Cusack was originally cast as John Bender, but John Hughes decided to replace him with Judd Nelson before shooting began. The main reason Hughes decided to replace Cusack with Judd Nelson is that Hughes felt Cusack was too nice to play a character as menacing and angry as John Bender.
I agree. I just
Yeah,
can't,
I can't see
he's
it.
too nice of a guy. He's got a nice face. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that guy looks like a nice guy to talk to.
Right.
You know?
And I don't think he'd look old enough to do that back then.
Yeah, he was playing teens then.
Yeah, he was a teen.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
He was in 16 Candles.
Now,
That's right.
to Nicolas Cage, on the other hand, I don't know about that.
No.
He could play the
Of course, he's
asshole
always
part,
looked
but-
40, so
Yeah,
like,
that's true. He's always
yeah.
kind of looked, older. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Judd Nelson was probably the right pick. There is a bitter irony for Hughes is that he got along very well with Cusack in the pre-production process, while his on-set relationship with Nelson was so bad that Hughes swore he would never work with Nelson again, and in fact, never did so. Stanley Kubrick watched The Breakfast Club 4 times and was really impressed by Anthony Michael Hall's performance. He compared Hall to a young Spencer Tracy. Kubrick wanted to cast him in the lead role of Private Joker in his upcoming film Full Metal Jacket, but after months of negotiations, Hall turned down the offer, and the part went to Matthew Modine. Bad move. The library in which this movie takes place was constructed in the gymnasium of Maine North High, specifically built for the film. The school closed down in 1982, 2 years before filming began. The building had been used for park district purposes and the Chicago Blitz of the now-defunct USFL Football League, before the Illinois State Police bought it and turned it into a police station, which it is to this day. As most
I didn't
people
realize it was a abandoned school or a defunct school.
Yeah. As most people know, Shermer, Illinois is a fictional suburb of Chicago and several John Hughes films, such as Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, and National Lampoon's Vacation. But the zip code that Brian states in the opening of the film 60062 is an actual town. It belongs to Northbrook, Illinois, a town about 30 miles north of Chicago. Northbrook was originally incorporated as Shermerville. It changed its name in 1923.
Okay.
Rick Moranis was originally cast as the janitor. He grew a thick beard and decided to play the character with a Russian accent. John
That would have
Hughes.
been awesome.
I think I've heard about this.
I probably told you about
I think
it.
you have.
John Hughes planned to let Moranis reinterpret the character, but producer Ned Tannen so vehemently opposed Moranis' comical creative liberties that he had Rick replaced with John Kapelos.
I think that would have made the movie better.
You'd have had more comedy.
That and Rick Moranis always makes a movie better.
Yeah.
He always made a movie better. Like if he was in it, you're like, this is gonna be good.
I mean, I think the guy that played the janitor, he did a good
fine,
job,
yeah,
but I think Rick Moranis would have
Brought something to
brought
it.
brought some comedy.
He would have brought something extra to the movie.
One thing that I found out that they cut from the film, and I wish they would have left it in, was the scene where the janitor says, hey, to Brian, and everybody just assumes, oh, the nerd is friends with the janitor. And they never correct that. The only reason that he knows Brian is because he's the one that found the gun in his locker.
Oh. Huh.
If they would have, and they could have put that in there somewhere. Just somebody saying it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would have given.
But instead, even
gave both of them more. Character.
even the audience is going nerd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off were both inducted into the National Registry for being culturally significant. Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 2014 and The Breakfast Club in 2016. Those are the only two John Hughes movies that accomplished this.
That's weird, though. I don't understand why Ferris Bueller's Day Off would. I don't know. I guess the movie itself is a cultural phenomenon. It is a fun movie, though.
Yeah,
It is a fun
definitely,
movie,
yeah.
So.
While chastising Bender in the supply closet, Vernon says that he makes $31,000 a year. Adjusted for inflation, anybody got a guess?
I thought the same. 31,000. I'm gonna go
22.
No. Fuck no. Why are you going down? It's gonna go up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess probably somewhere near 50 to 60,000.
46.
You got anything?
80.
He's got it.
For real?
$81,739 in 2022.
Why
That's
does
pretty
he
good
make
money,
that
though.
much money as a teacher?
They should make that, but you got to think it's, in Illinois. It's a very costly city.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, if they're living in Chicago.
not to mention the disparagement between what things cost and what you made was way different in 1984.
And honestly, I think teachers are underpaid regardless.
I
They
agree.
all go to college to teach younger
And
minds.
then they have to buy most of their supplies.
And they have to
deal with
deal-
everybody else's kids all day. You
Yeah.
couldn't pay me enough.
So, yeah, I
You
really
couldn't.
feel like teachers are just
Dad,
underpaid
bring up your point
nowadays.
about summers.
But they get 3 months off every year.
They deserve it.
I mean,
You gonna deal with everybody else's bratty little assholes all day.
I'm an asshole, man.
Nah, yeah, you get fired. That's the problem.
Yeah, probably.
you have
You
to.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to.
They
be-
deserve every penny. Every
That's
penny.
not true. Mr. Roll was banging his secretary. They didn't fire him. They just put his ass in night school.
That was when we were in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today,
He'd been fired.
you're fired.
Yeah, maybe.
Not true. Mr. Toby used to bully Malia my manager whenever she went to school, and he
Yeah,
still
that
works
was
there.
when she went to school. How old is she?
She's a year older than me.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah. It was sad because she was
Did
telling me
anybody
about it.
tell, like, did her
And
parents?
She tried to tell people and nobody would listen to her.
Not even her parents?
No, I heard she got a bad relationship with her parents.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey auditioned for the role of John Bender.
She should have been in the Breakfast Club.
She was such a sweetheart, though.
I'm sure she was. Or is.
Was like,
Sorry.
did she get a flare gun?
I put it in past tense.
Well,
That's
Mr.
fucked up.
Toby would float, or even whenever I was in his class and everything, all he did was flirt with, like, the cheerleaders and, like, joke around with jocks and everything. Like, he would ignore everyone
He's
else.
so cool.
Yeah, and, like, that's part of the reason why I never learned anything in that class.
What a
Ever.
dickbag.
I failed Spanish both quarters.
We didn't have that in school. We didn't
Like,
have
he didn't
teachers
help
flirting
either.
or anything like that. Like,
I don't remember any teachers that wanted to be my friend.
no.
You know what I mean? Like, they were
Yeah.
nice. Like, I had teachers that were really nice and
Nice,
helped to
yeah.
shape me a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, no.
No, we didn't have any like that.
Mm-mm.
We wanted, well, we're part of the cool crowd.
No.
Still
But all
chasing.
of our teachers,
Still chasing that high school dream, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
maybe-
but all of our teachers though in high school were like, they're all older. We didn't really have any younger teachers. Nowadays, though, I walk through
There's
their
a
schools
lot
and
of
there's a
younger
lot
teachers.
of younger teachers, like younger than
you
us.
gotta think it was all boomers and stuff. We
Yeah.
were in kids, and there was a lot of them,
Yeah.
right?
Really?
Jim Carrey auditioned for the role of John Bender. If John Hughes couldn't get Emilio Estevez to play the role of Andrew Clark, he would have considered casting Michael J. Fox, Jim Carrey, Tom Cruise, Matthew Broderick, or Rob Lowe.
I think you would have liked Mr. Tenney.
I don't know. I don't think I ever had him.
All right.
Jodie Foster was considered to play Claire, and Brooke Shields was considered to play Allison. Robin Wright auditioned for the role of Claire.
Brooke Shields is Allison.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about all that.
I just read the news, man. I don't make it.
Yeah, that's weird. Brooke Shields is Allison.
Amazingly, 10 years after this came out in 1995, Molly Ringwald was offered another teen girl part. She was offered the role of, anybody want to guess? It's a pretty big deal.
Like, and she didn't take it.
Didn't take the role.
Another.
Wow.
How many years later?
95 after is 10 years later. So 95, pretty big deal.
I'm gonna go Scream.
Ooh, very good. Which role?
Probably the news lady.
Tate?
Well, yeah, she would have to have been the news lady. She's probably been Gail Weathers.
Sydney Prescott.
Really?
main
She's
star
too
in
old,
Scream.
man.
Too old for that.
Eventually played by Neve Campbell. Screenwriter Kevin Wilson offered it to her first before Campbell and Drew Barrymore because he was such a fan of 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. Although Ringwald was flattered, she turned him down, saying, "I don't want to be a 28-year-old." She was only 28. Year old, still playing high school girls in movies.
Wow, that's crazy. She would have been. I guess that makes sense. She was 18.
Mhm.
They use fucking 30-year-olds nowadays to play.
Well,
Well, that's
Yeah.
what they go on to say. Ironically, most of the kids in the movie were about Molly's age. Campbell was 24, Rose McGowan was 24, Skeet Ulrich was 26, Matthew Lillard was 26, Jamie Kennedy was 25, and so was Barry Miller. So,
Matthew
I
Lillard
love-
did an
I love
amazing
Jamie
job,
Kennedy's
though.
character in the screen.
oh God, yes.
Robin.
In the beginning of the movie, different shots of the school hallways and classrooms are shown, and you can see the flare gun. You can see what the flare gun did to Brian's locker. Also, there's a picture of a former Shermer High School student man of the year. The guy in the picture is the janitor, Carl Reed. Vernon is based on a wrestling coach from John Hughes' high school who flunked him in gym. Hughes later ran into him, and the coach said that the movie was good, but the teacher was a real prick.
Mhm.
That's it.
All right.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Calm down, Brad Pitt.
Well, I mean, he is going through something.
Yeah,
You
definitely
know?
going through something.
Aw.
It'd be fun if we had a picture of like Gwen, is it Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah.
A picture of her
Yeah.
like face in here. Oh God. Like just her face.
We probably should
Because we opened the box and then there's her head.
Yeah. It's Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces. Another one that it's interesting.
Is it
To
a
say
waste
the
of
Well, it was
time?
interesting enough that pretty much every movie that came out for another like 5 years wanted to be it.
That is true. Yeah. Yep. So
Stars.
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 Smoking Aces. It's got a bunch of people in it, a shitload of people in it. Namely, though, Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
And, yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
That
is-
ending scene gets me every fucking time.
Yeah, a lot of people like that one. It's a good scene at the end. A lot of people in this movie before they were even big stars, like Chris Pine.
Yeah,
in
he
this
was
movie.
he's one of the crazy brothers.
Yeah. Dr. Cox is in this.
I love him.
Yeah. He's crazy as fuck, too.
Yeah, he is. He does best when he's well. I don't know. In Scrubs, he's like the heart of that show, but he's still funny in it too.
There's a bunch of people in this movie, but go check it out. It's on Stars. Come back and watch it with us next week. Don't forget about them socials. Just saying, it might do you some good. You guys are on the fucking media, social media stuff anyway. Just do it. Next week, though, Smoking Aces, rated R, all that good shit. Be here or don't. Actually, do be here. Because if you don't, then Madison's probably going to stalk you and hide in your closet.
You don't want me to do
And
that.
she's going to try on all of your underwear.
No, I won't.
She will.
No, I won't.
She will.
No. He'll be in your room waiting to smell your underwear, so.
You can't turn this around on me.
Yes, I can.
No, you're just mad because I had a good one on you.
No, you're being disgusting.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, underwear.